What's going on, guys? We got another video coming, another tasty time with Alex. As you can see, we got the big green egg ready. We're going to be doing a copycat recipe, a good channel that I really love that I recommend anybody check out. If you've made it this far trying to find this video by happen chance, you've probably already heard of this guy, Malcolm Reed. He has a channel called How to Barbecue Right, and it is one of the best barbecuing channels on YouTube, in my opinion. So we're gonna do a copycat of his voodoo wings. So we got some royal oak charcoal. We got ourselves a vortex to put in the big green egg, so we can basically turn this thing into almost an air fryer. So what we're gonna do is we're going to get us some coals nice and hot. Then we're gonna dump them down into the vortex, and then we're gonna put some wings on this sucker and get them nice and crispy. So what all we got to do, we got to get the grill hot. That's number one. Number two, we've got to get the recipes going for, we're going to make some special ranch dip. We're going to do a voodoo ranch dip. We're going to do a voodoo sauce, which his sauce calls for a vinegar-based barbecue sauce. I don't have any vinegar-based barbecue sauce because we're in Alabama and we like it nice and sweet. So everything I've got is really sugar-based, brown sugar-based. So I think I'm going to try to tweak his recipe a little bit for that, and we'll see what we do with that and kind of play with a couple things that I've got going on. So let's go get to cooking. Okay, first thing that we're going to make today is going to be a Cajun Ranch dipping sauce for these wings. So here's kind of the recipe, if you guys want to see it. It's a cup of mayo. Now Malcolm, he uses blue plate, but we are a Duke's family, and this is a hill that I will die on, so I am not going to substitute that. Cup of mayo, cup of sour cream. We're going to use a packet of ranch seasoning, which is somewhere over here. And it says for a tablespoon of hot sauce and a teaspoon of our Cajun seasoning, which we're using some Creole Magic, which is made by Miss Rubbins, and it's actually made in Montgomery, Alabama, so an Alabama local thing. What we're going to do is we're going to forego the hot sauce. Everything we're making for these wings is going to be spicy, so we're going to axe the hot sauce because everything else should be spicy enough. So let's get everything all mixed up. All right, if you are not a fan of mayonnaise, you might want to avert your eyes, but we've got a cup of sour cream, a cup of mayo, ranch packet, and then a teaspoon of our Cajun seasoning. So we're going to take our tiny whisk. If you guys know another good channel called Benjamin Babish, you will be fans of a tiny whisk. We're going to whisk that together until we've got a nice homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous just means everything's nice and uniform. Then I'm going to taste test it. We're going to figure out if we actually need some hot sauce or not. Okay, taste test time. Always test what you're making. Some of that Cajun Ranch sauce. It's got some nice color to it. It is nice and uniform now. And it looks pretty good. Let's give it a taste. That's good. That's good. Mixture of sour cream and mayo. The best of both worlds when you're making a ranch dip. Cajun seasoning brings out a little spice to it, but it's not spicy whatsoever, really. The good Cajun spices is what I mean by that. So we're going to get this in the fridge and let those flavors kind of meld together. And we're going to start prepping the grill, and then we got to prep these wings. All right, guys. So here's our first step on what we're going to do to prep these wings. We've got a family pack of these full wings. Now, if you want to, you can trim it and turn it into the flats and the drums. I like cooking them this way. I think the skin holds together more nice, keeps them more juicy, and tends to turn out a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically pat these things until they are as dry as they can be, and then we're going to set them out so we can hit them with our spices. All right, guys. So got these things nice and patted dry. The reason you want to do that is because the less moisture on the skin, the crisper it's going to get. So we're going to hit it with our Creole Magic. We're just going to do a good dusting on top of the wings. So we're going to hit those drumsticks with some of that AP seasoning. Look at that. Same thing, we're just going to flip them over.
This will come out easier.
Yeah, this comes out a lot easier. It's not as chunky. That other's got some herbs in it, some oregano, some thyme, so it's a little bit chunkier. So that one just, look how good that is. So we're using Miss Rubbins Creole Magic and then Miss Robin's White Magic. And this is more of an AP seasoning. And it doesn't say beef on here, but we actually did this on a steak and it turned out extremely good. All right, guys, so the most important thing about barbecuing is staying well hydrated. So right now we've got a prairie artisan ale. It's a rainbow sherbet sour, and this is, I've tried this.
Is it sherbet or sherbet?
Sherbet? Who knows? It's a tasty libation. Anyway, that's what we're gonna do. We wanna make sure we've got good open grates. So we're gonna open up our egg all the way. Sometimes that second grate wants to come with it. We are going to put our tumbleweeds down here on the center. And we've got our starter nice and full of charcoal. So we're gonna go ahead and light our tumbleweeds. We can get it to light.
Yeah, on it.
Okay. These tumbleweeds are gonna get going really quick. And then we're just literally gonna set that right on top. We're gonna give that about 15 to 20 minutes to get going. And once that's there, we'll take the starter out, we'll place our vortex in, and we're gonna dump those coals right inside. Look at that, isn't that a wonderful sight? Them coals getting hot and burning up there. So while that's doing that, we're gonna come over here and we're gonna make ourselves a sauce for the wings.
Yeah.
And Grayson's gonna help, she's gonna help stir. We're gonna need a stick of butter. We're using this Papa's Pilar dark rum that's aged in bourbon barrels. And we're also gonna use a matching Havana sauce. This is the thinner version of this sauce. It's got a little bit more vinegar to it. It's got a little bit more bright spices. It's more Cuban style, I guess is the emphasis. They also say to use some hot sauce in here. We're gonna go light on the hot sauce. We're also gonna do 2 cloves of minced garlic and about 2 tablespoons of minced onion. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our pan nice and hot. That's getting there. Yep, that's getting there. We're gonna let our butter get in there and melt. Then we're gonna add this in here and we're going to stir it. And that's Grayson's job, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right, let's get started. Okay, so we got our butter going here. And in case you don't know, this is not a healthy dish, by the way, because we got a whole stick of butter going into this sauce. You already know this. You've been to a wing place. You know how bad they are for you. All right, so we got our onion and our garlic in there. Those smells. All right, Grayson, give it a stir. Good deal. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna let those hang out for a minute and essentially just saute them for a second. We're gonna add in some brown sugar. We're gonna add in the rum, and we're gonna add in just a little bit of red pepper flake. All right, so we've got our brown sugar in there and we've got our rum in here. And a second, I'm gonna mess with this recipe just a little bit. So we're gonna see how this turns out. If not, I've got some other barbecue sauce that we'll use. So we're gonna give it just a little bit of red pepper flake, not much, maybe one more. We're gonna give it about 5 minutes to cook the alcohol out. And then we're gonna actually take it off heat, pour in the barbecue sauce, and then put it in the jar and just let it hang out until we're ready to toss the wings. Okay, so we got our barbecue sauce added in there. So we got our mixture of the rum, the butter, onion, garlic, a little bit of crushed red pepper flake. I did put some hot sauce in it. And then we got our barbecue sauce in there. So this is supposed to be nice, rich, and buttery, just like about any good wing sauce. You want it to cover good. So I'm gonna give it a taste test and see how it is. Ooh, wow, that's extremely rich, and it just got on my t-shirt there. All right, that's the setup. So look how much heat is right at the middle of that thing. It is super hot, and those coals are just really, really warm. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna close the egg's ready to go. It's nice and warm. So we're gonna close it down. We're gonna open it up, and then I'm gonna go get these wings out here. All right, so here's our arrangement. We got them wings around the outside. We got the drumsticks kind of inside a little bit because drumsticks tend to need a little bit more heat. And also threw in a piece of smoked pecan on there just to give it a little bit of smoke. So we're going to just let those do its thing. Actually, I need to move that drumstick already. Can you go grab me some tongs? Look how hot. It's already starting to burn that drumstick right there, right on the bottom. We're gonna have to move these drumsticks, I think. This thing gets really hot, screeching hot in the center. We'll just flip them over, see how it's looking. If they're getting a little bit too much done, we'll flip them over and then we'll rearrange them as we go. So we're gonna check them about every 15 minutes. All right, so this is our first 15 minutes. As you can see, we're not cooking over direct heat, so we're not getting too much burn action, but this thing is kind of offset a little bit. So I had to move these back just a little bit because there is an extreme hot spot right back here that just about will burn them chicken legs. So I moved them back over a little bit. That way that we cook a little bit more evenly. And my pecan in there is smoking hot and it's giving some good smoke. 30 minutes in. Where's my tongs? Let's take a look here. This is the hot spot. Let's take a look back right here. Let's see what the bottom of this thing's looking like. Ooh, yeah, that's getting done. And that thin skin's starting to pull up a little bit. We'll give these all a flip, and then we're gonna let them go for another 15. We'll check them again. All right, so we've been going about another 15 minutes. This gives us just over total cook time of an hour. And you see how much that coal, I mean, it's still hot in there. It's still, you can still see the heat rising. It dropped a good bit. I mean, it was staying close to 500 when we started this thing up. So the heat on this really dropped. So let's see how we're looking in here. I didn't show you the last time, but I did flip these suckers around. So I think our drumsticks are just about there. The heat dying down allowed me to get the drumsticks a little bit closer to that center heat element and not do what it did to this poor little guy for about 30 seconds. You see how much it was on there, what, about a minute? And it completely tore this thing up. Now, one of my telltale signs on a drumstick is when the skin starts to pull from the bone. Hasn't done that just quite yet, so we're gonna let these stay on a little bit longer. Now, I think these are actually, I mean, as far as pulling them off now, you could probably pull them and eat them. But, you know, I really want the skin crisp on these things. And I think I figured out what my first mistake was, is I let the charcoal get to sit too much before I started to do anything with it. And that's probably my biggest mistake there. I think next time I use this thing, I'm gonna drop my coals a lot sooner. But I know these are done, but I want to get them extra crisp. So I'm going to leave them on here for about maybe another 15 minutes or so. Because I know those drumsticks probably aren't completely done yet. I did check the internal temperature on some of these, and they were sitting at about 165. So as far as poultry goes, yeah, they're done. But I want to get these things crispy, you know? I want them to be where you bite into them and they've got that little hot wing snap. You know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to give them another flip-see here, and I'm just going to let them sit for a little bit and let that indirect heat do its thing. Okay, let's close them back up and we'll see what we do. The fly. All right, so we just yanked these suckers off. They are done. We're gonna go toss them in sauce, and we're gonna go see how they are. All right, so we got the moment of truth here. Nice and crispy chicken wing. Got our sauce here. We're just gonna toss it around in it. It's hard to do this with one hand. It's nice and coated. All right, moment of truth. This thing is hot. I can tell you it's very hot.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom. Ooh, that's good. I'm glad we decided to go with that barbecue sauce. because it complements the rum that we used very well. It's got a nice little crisp bite when you bite into it, like a good chicken wing should. It's got some good smoke to it. It's nice and tender. That's really nice. I like that. So, hope you enjoyed this. If you have any tips on how to use a vortex, let me know. I think I figured out what I'm gonna do next time. Next time I'm gonna close the top on the egg a little bit farther down so it holds temp a little bit better. And I'm gonna drop the coals sooner. But I think everybody's hungry. It's been long enough. I'm certainly ready for us to eat on these wings. So we'll catch you guys later. Always like, comment, subscribe. I always like to hear from you guys. And Grayson likes to answer comments too, so hit her with questions. They're right, G-Money. Catch you on our next tasty adventure, maybe.
Yeah.
I forgot my ranch sauce. Let's put a little ranch on it. Ooh, a little bit of ranch. Yeah. Ooh. There we go. It's nice and thick. Let's try this. Amy's looking at me judgmentally. Pawpaw glasses. That's a winner.